So this PowerPoint and lecture is from Chapter 13, and it focuses on organizational psychology. As I mentioned in the other PowerPoint from this chapter, we know that it focuses on both industrial and organizational psychology, but here we're going to focus on the organizational side. But first, let's go ahead and define again what IO psychology is. It is a branch of psychology that studies how human behavior and psychology affect work and how they are affected by work. So keep that in mind throughout the PowerPoint. Let's specifically define organizational psychology. It focuses on social interactions and their effect on the individual and on the functioning of the organization. Job satisfaction, different styles of management, different styles of leadership, organizational culture, and teamwork are all parts of what organizational psychologists would look at. So let's look at job satisfaction first. Job satisfaction describes the degree to which individuals enjoy their job. It results from both how we think about our work and how we feel about our work. It's impacted by the work itself, our own personality, and the culture we come from and live in. Job satisfaction is usually measured with a questionnaire. Most of you, if you've had a job, have probably filled one of these out. And it's important because the more satisfied someone is with their job, it's been proven that the higher their job performance will be. So I put an example of an employee satisfaction survey. Again, you've probably all filled one out because it's just a common thing to do, but it might ask questions like, how happy are you with your job overall? How do you feel about the responsibilities of your job? Why do you come to work every day? And then probably someone in a supervisory position is going to look at that just to see how many people in the company are satisfied or not satisfied. Further looking at job satisfaction, there are 5 factors that have been found to drive job satisfaction. Feedback. Are you in a place where you can safely and easily get feedback and use it to improve? Does the work you do create meaning or impact? Do you feel ownership of the work you're doing? Do you have freedom to make choices, autonomy in the position? Is the task monotonous, or do you get to do different things all the time that keep your brain thriving? So those are just some things that you might want to look at in your own job or in the future. Do you have those 5 factors? Because that's going to affect your job satisfaction. I think something else that's really important to think about as you're going into career is work-family balance. Often it can be difficult to create a balance between home life and work life. The textbook identifies 3 sources of work-family conflict. Time devoted to work makes it difficult to fulfill requirements of family, or vice versa. Strain from participation in work makes it difficult to fulfill requirements of family, or vice versa. Specific behaviors required by work make it difficult to fulfill, again, the requirements of family, or vice versa. So it's important to acknowledge that both our work life can affect our home life, and also our home life can affect our work life. So there's an interaction between the two. Stress in one will make it more difficult in the other. So it's important to find a balance between work and family. Research findings on work-family conflicts. So if you have a work-family conflict, these are some ways that it can be reduced. Having a supportive supervisor can reduce work-family conflict. The organization just being in general a supportive culture where supervisors and coworkers all support each other. If you have more autonomy and control over your job, that's probably going to reduce some conflicts. And if you have the ability to alter patterns of work overload. So really the more control you have over your job and the factors in your job is going to reduce work-family conflicts. So those are important things to look for. Let's move on to management. Management and organizational structure focuses on management and human relations. The textbook discusses several types of management. Scientific management, which identifies two theories of management. There's theory X and there's theory Y. Let's look at the diagram on the left. Theory X assumes that people hate work, people have to be forced to work, people prefer to be told what to do, people are selfish and have no interest in the organization. This is what that manager assumes. The theory Y manager assumes that people like work, people drive themselves and work effectively. People will take the initiative given the opportunity, and people will commit themselves to objectives if it is beneficial to them. I think we can all acknowledge that we would rather have theory Y management style than theory X. We would rather have a manager who feels like we like work and we're going to take opportunities and we're committed. Strengths-based management is when the employer identifies each employee's strengths and then focuses on using those. Strengths-based practice, your strengths are identified. Your supervisor identifies the areas that you're strong in, and then development of those strengths and skills is encouraged. Therefore, you'll have positive and meaningful experiences, and opportunities are provided for development. Therefore, that leads to positive expectations, and then it's a cycle. Then we know your strengths again, and then we develop those skills, and that brings about positive reinforcement. So a strengths-based manager is going to do that, focus on your skills, and then try and develop those. Leadership styles of management. There are two types of leadership styles. Some supervisors are transactional, and some are transformational. A transactional leadership style would mean that the leadership or supervisor is responsive. They work within organizational structure, never deviate from that. They maintain the status quo, and objectives are achieved through a reward-punishment system. So very much more stern than a transformational leader, I think. Transformational leadership, the leader's proactive, constantly seeking to improve organizational structure, not just following it, but wanting new ideas and new things, promoting innovative ideas to solve problems. And objectives are achieved through motivation to better the good of the group, not just through a reward system. So some leaders are transactional, some are transformational, and just the style of employee you are probably determines which one you would prefer. Teamwork is always an important part of an organization, and it's usually a necessary part. Work teams bring together diverse skills, experience, and expertise. In the team-based approach, teams are brought together and given a specific task or goal to accomplish. And there have been three types of teams identified. A problem resolution team would be created for the purpose of solving just a particular problem or issue. Creative team would be used to develop innovative possibilities or new solutions. And a tactical team would be used to execute a well-defined plan or objective. So those are just three types of teams that might be put together in a workplace. So what's organizational culture? It encompasses the values, visions, hierarchies, norms, and interactions among its employees. Essentially, it's how an organization is run, how it operates, and how it makes decisions. Again, up here, you can see that organizational culture is essentially how we do things. It's how we make decisions. It's how we reward people. We recognize people. It's how we behave toward each other. It's how we celebrate each other, and it's how we communicate. Different organizations obviously have different cultures, and a lot of that can be determined by the management style of the leader. It kind of trickles down from management style down to the employees. So it's important to know that be able to identify if you're working in a culture you enjoy or a culture you don't enjoy, because that's going to affect the work-life family balance. Workplace violence, which unfortunately does occur, would be any act or threat of physical violence, harassment, intimidation, or other threatening, disruptive behavior that occurs at the workplace. It ranges from threats and verbal abuse to actual physical assaults and even homicide. There are 4 types of workplace violence: criminal intent, worker on worker, customer client, or a personal relationship between you and perhaps another coworker. So again, workplace violence is not really something that we want to occur or enjoy discussing, but it does happen, so it's important to be aware of that. So here's some strategies for preventing workplace violence: reporting and response protocols, improved facility design and security measures, educating people on workplace violence and training them to be able to identify what to do. Staff support and well-being, and familiarizing people with relevant laws and regulations can all reduce workplace violence. So that's a little bit about organizational psychology, what it looks at, what they evaluate, what they do. So please let me know if you have any questions.